Oh. Welcome to the basement. Let's talk about what you're going to be doing today. Just have a few brief things to give you a tour of, and then you're going to get right to work. First thing we want to do is an update of the journaling assignment. Keep asking me questions, keep showing me entries if you want feedback on whether or not you're on the right path. I have added something, which is that we will be doing some sharing out. This is a Padlet. I'll do a brief overview of how to use a Padlet if you've never done a Padlet before, and then I'm just going to let it sit here. The key phrase here is by the end of the unit, share out your journal entry for 2 of the 6 readings. By the end of the unit, meaning you don't have to be ready to do it today. You don't have to be ready to decide which is the 2 that you'd be willing to share out. And the Persepolis journal entry that you have right now doesn't necessarily have to be the one that you would submit for reading 1 if you decide to redo it. So this is a by the end of the unit. If you have something ready to go, by all means, put it up on the Padlet. The idea here is that this would recreate putting it on the wall so that when it comes to assessment time and people are brainstorming, we're using each other to have that collection of good panels and quotes that people have observed. But I know you're not ready to do that yet. So I'm showing you where it is, but you don't have to add anything to it now. While we're talking about journal entries, I do want to clarify something that was asked of me, and it's a good clarification. Anytime you have image work, it comes up, I found this clip art using a Google image search, or I have a click art database that I know how to use. Do I have to look up the citation for that? I just want to be clear that almost always the answer is yes, when this is an assignment that's going to be graded as a formal example of ideas that you're presenting. And what makes this different to me is that it's journaling. It's informal back and forth communication between you and I, and between you and your peers. You are by no means ever expecting to claim the pictures that you're making to be your artistry. It is sometimes going to be your artistry because some of you will be drawing. Once you take one piece of clip art and put it next to another piece of clip art, at that moment, that decision becomes a new piece of art. And there's always some gray area when it comes to art. And really at the end of this, you're not going to be publishing this publicly to anyone but me. So sort of this one time, in order to unhinge your creativity, you do not have to worry about citing your source images exactly while you work. I will add that if you decide to put this in your learner portfolio, something that hypothetically down the line someone else would look at, you might want to remember where you got the images from. You don't have to do an MLA citation, but some sort of caption that says images provided by somebody else. I also want to point out there's just a lot of great resources. I use them for my work with Unleashed. Lots of great websites that have free stock photography. The YouTube videos that I've been making, those title cards, those Lego pictures, they come from a website called Unsplash, where photographers upload their art to be recognized, and they do it just to get their name out there, and they're willing to say, go ahead and take my stuff for free. The trade-off, all I ask, is a little bit of credit. So that's a good example of ways that you could do that ethically. All right, 5 minutes in already. Let's show you how to use a Padlet. Let's do this quick. All right, so we have, I'm using this as a model, the R-Man and Tehran example that I already have. When you click the plus, you're given this row right here. These all kind of do the same thing when you click on them, which is take you to another window where you can upload the thing that you're going to upload. So for my example, I'm going to just go in my downloads folder here and just grab one of those beautiful title cards and upload it. And that's all there is to it. Your name's automatically going to be attached to it.
Quick check-in, Mr. Honor from the future here. I'm editing, listening to myself talk about Padlet. What I just said, false. You have to log in the upper right-hand corner into your Google account, and then your name will automatically show up at the top of your post. Otherwise, it'll say anonymous. All right, back to the show.
You don't have to give this a title or write anything here. Here is a little bit of a nitpicky technical thing to acknowledge. So I'm going to get rid of this and say you do a link instead. If you do a Google drawing, it'll have trouble rendering the picture and make it look picture perfect like that. It will do a picture of your drawing inside the Google Doc, and so it might end up just having the little red Google drawing icon. If you want your actual picture to be on this bulletin board, and that's kind of my hope, to have this like sort of beautiful bulletin board that if it was on our wall, we'd be really proud of it. You want to download your drawing and make it a .png. That is the best protocol for graphics. If your graphics are mostly a picture, then you might want to do a JPEG, but for the most part, a .png is the best. That's how you Padlet. All right, let's trash that and turn it over to you. Let's go take a look at the classroom stream to see what you're doing today. After class starts, I will upload a new due date for this to correspond with Friday. Keeping in mind that you're just keeping up with this. They are due alongside readings, but if you choose to work on journaling during class time today, you're still doing appropriate work. The crux of today, I've used that twice in remote learning, is to respond to the discussion questions for the second reading. This time, we will be following these instructions. Taking notes and marking the pages that are referenced to in the questions below. You're working individually because you're going to come up with individual responses, and then at a later point in the class, you will do some responding. And I know no one responded the first time around. This time, you have to do one, because to be done for the day is one discussion Flipgrid and one discussion on a discussion Flipgrid. I'll let you read the discussion questions on your own. I've also put together, before I let you go, I've also put together another Padlet of my own that just has a whole bunch of reference links. I found it interesting to compare this photograph of the Shah to Satrapi's drawing of the Shah, or when Reza Shah, his father, was presented with the tall crown and his mustache. It was interesting to me to go out and find some pictures of him to see, once again, how is it that she's using her art to take the personalities of these men and distill them down to something that has meaning that's still readily identifiable. There's some other material on here, like all the chapters are listed, an overview of the Iran-Iraq War that we are in now in the narrative, a couple of interviews, and some vocabulary regarding the different clothing that are both seen and mentioned in the text. All right, let's see if I've got everything going over the day here. I gave you an update on where you should be on journaling, including showing you where you're going to share out 2 entries out of your minimum 6 from the unit. You don't have to be ready to do that today. I'm just showing it to you now so that you are prepared for when that day comes. I've showed you where the discussion questions are, and I've reminded you that the exit ticket for today is 2 Flipgrids, one of your own and one responding to somebody else. I don't have any plans to do a live Google Meet today, but you can find me hovering over your classroom documents, and I'm also going to be making sure to respond to everybody Flipgrids today. All right, best of luck. Let's get to work.